So today I will be presenting the introduction of our assignment entitled the Undi 18 Policy, Opportunities and Challenges for Youth Political Participation in Malaysia. The Undi 18 policy was introduced to lower the voting age from 20 to 18 years old in order to encourage greater youth participation in Malaysia's democratic process. Although the policy provides more opportunities for young people to participate in election, it has also raised several challenges regarding political knowledge, maturity, and democratic awareness. Therefore, this study aims to examine the implementation of the Undi 18 policy, its opportunities, its challenges, and its impact on youth political participation in Malaysia. Now, let us begin by looking at the background of the Undi 18 policy and its importance in strengthening democracy in Malaysia.
Next is our theoretical framework. A theory is a systematic framework that helps researchers understand, explain, and predict a phenomenon. In research, theories serve as a foundation that guides the analysis and interpretation of an issue. It also helps researchers organize ideas, understand findings, and develop logical explanation based on evidence rather than personal opinions. In this study, we apply two theories that are relevant to the implementation of Undi 18 in Malaysia. The first theory is the theory of participatory democracy by Karl Popman, 1970. This theory argues that citizens should actively participate in political and social decision-making rather than only voting during election. It also explains that active participation helps develop political knowledge, civic responsibility, and democratic values. In the context of Undi 18, this theory is relevant because lowering the voting age allows more young people to participate in election and encourage them to become more actively involved in the democratic process. Next is the political representation theory by Hannah Pitkin, 1967. Pitkin defines representation as the process of making presence against, which means that elected representatives speak and act on behalf of the people. In other words, they are responsible for voicing the public opinions, needs, and interests in political decision-making. This theory is relevant to Undi 18 because lowering the voting age to 18, youth are given the opportunity to participate in election, voice their opinion, and ensure that their interests are represented in the political system. Now, I will explain our research methodology. The study used the qualitative research method. According to Creswell 2012, qualitative research focuses on exploring and understanding the meanings that individuals or groups associate with social issues. We choose this method because it allows us to gain a deeper understanding of the implementation of Undi 18 in Malaysia. For data collection, we use secondary data from reliable sources such as journal articles, books, government reports, official publication, online news, and other trustworthy online sources. These materials provide relevant information on the challenge, impact, and future prospect of Undi 18. Lastly, for data analysis, we examined and interpreted all the collected information to identify common themes and key findings. This analysis helped us better understand the implementation of Undi 18 and draw conclusions based on reliable evidence.
The constitutional amendment was passed unanimously by Parliament in July 2019. It lowered the minimum voting age in Malaysia from 21 to 18 years old and also introduced automatic voter registration or AVR. This system allows eligible citizens to be automatically registered as voters once they reach the age of 18 without needing to register manually. The first factor that led to implementation of Undi 18 is to encourage greater youth political participation. Before this amendment, only citizens aged 21 and above were eligible to vote. By lowering the voting age to 18, young Malaysians are given the opportunity to exercise their voting rights earlier and become actively involved in the democratic process. This initiative also aims to increase political awareness among young people and ensure that their voices are represented in national decision-making. The second factor is strengthening democracy in Malaysia. The introduction of automatic voter registration (AVR) together with Undi 18 expands electoral participation by automatically registering eligible citizens aged 18 and above. This leads to a more inclusive and representative electoral system. These reforms broaden voter participation and strengthen democratic development in Malaysia. The third factor is alignment with international practices. The implementation of Undi 18 was also influenced by global democratic standards, where many countries already allow citizens aged 18 to vote. Previously, Malaysia was among the few countries that maintained the voting age 21, which was considered less aligned with international norms. By lowering the voting age to 18, Malaysia modernizes its electoral system and ensures it is in line with global democratic practices. This change also reflects the recognition of young adults as capable political participants who can contribute to the democratic process.
Next, let's look at the main challenge of implementing Vote 18 in Malaysia. The first hurdle is low political literacy. It is because schools lack comprehensive civic education. Many youths in this generation engage in blind voting. They cast their ballots based on peer pressure, family instruction, or social media trends rather than actually understanding political manifestos. The second challenge is social media and manipulations. Young voters are heavily influenced by online algorithms that create echo members and echo chambers, showing them only biased content. This is worsened by cyber troopers who weaponize fake news, slander, racial, or religious rhetoric to distort the facts. In short, while lowering the voting age expands democracy, it cannot truly succeed without fixing a political illiteracy and tackling online manipulations. Moving on to the next challenge of vote 18 in Malaysia, as highlighted, we have low cognitive maturity. At the age of 18, many youth are in a critical stage of life transitions. They typically lack financial independence and broad life experience, as most are just finishing their secondary school or entering a tertiary educations. This limits their perspective on long-term national policies. Because of this developmental stage, young voters are often easily swayed. It is because they are highly vulnerable to external pressures from their immediate social circles and can be easily taken in by populist promises. These are political campaigns that offer immediate short-term gratification rather than sustainable long-term solution for the country. Therefore, granting voting rights at the age of 18 means we must also find ways to guide them, ensuring they can look past short-term perks and make mature, informed decisions for the nation's future. Thank you.
Consequently, public perception regarding this reform remains highly polarized and divided into distinct ideological camps. On one hand, the progressive camp, which includes civil society leaders, academic reformists, and human rights advocates, views the policy as a landmark democratization mechanism. They robustly argue that if an 18-year-old is legally mature enough to enter employment contracts, get married, pay income taxes, and face persecution as an adult in the criminal justice system, it is a constitutional contradiction to deny them the right to vote. From their perspective, this policy is a vital step toward modernizing Malaysia's civic culture and forcing political parties to address progressive, future-oriented issues. On the other hand, the conservative skepticism camp expresses grave anxieties regarding the cognitive readiness, emotional volatility, and expressionability of teenagers who have only recently left secondary school. Traditionalists and older generational cohorts frequently argue that 18-year-olds generally lack the broader life experience and macroeconomic literacy required to make highly complex long-term electoral choices. They fear that youth's heavily reliance on sensationalized short-form digital content makes them highly susceptible to peer pressure and external manipulation, which could introduce dangerous unpredictability into national governance. This societal friction highlights that while the constitutional amendment can instantly alter legal frameworks, Shifting deep-rooted cultural perceptions regarding youth autonomy is a much slower, evolutionary process.
In conclusion, the Undi 18 policy is an important step towards strengthening democracy in Malaysia. It gives young people the chance to participate in election and have their voice heard in shaping the country's future. Even though there are still some challenges, such as limited political knowledge, democratic awareness, and the influence of social media, this issue can be improved through better political education and continuous guidance. Overall, the Undi 18 policy has created more opportunities for young people to become active, responsible, and informed citizens. And that's all from our group. Thank you.